Black guys sometimes get these white girls, and I always watch it. You know, I pay attention to this stuff because, you know, I work in public. I see a lot of people all the time. So one thing about the white girls when they're with the black guy, they smell really bad, but they can't smell it. They can't tell. It's because their skin meshes with the black guys in a bad.
Hold on there, Grandpa.
A lot of white men, everything is a sexual motivation, and this video proves it.
BC lover. This person right here would die for BC.
You are thinking about the genitalia of black men. You were the only person who was thinking about it.
Many black people did they date, and the shade of blackness they have dated. If we're talking about like a half skin 6 years ago, 2 dates, you know, we can kind of brush that under the rug. But if we're talking 3 or more, burnt crispy, to the streets.
I am learning through social media that there are a non-small percentage of white guys who spend a lot of time just solely thinking about black men.
Hi guys, my name is Liam and you are welcome back to the channel. Y'all, I need y'all to sit all the way down for this one. We got white men, grown men, out here in 2026 blaming black men and black women for why white women smell terrible. Let me say that again so it sinks in. They are now saying the reason white women carry that wet dog, hot dog water scent is because they date black men, not because of diet, not because of hygiene habits, not because of genetics or lifestyle. No, it's the black man's fault. Their skin meshes wrong. That's the science they came up with. I had to pause the video. I had to rub my eyes. I had to check the date. Because the level of jealousy, the level of bitterness, the level of pure deflection in this take is Olympic. These men are watching white women choose black men, and instead of asking themselves why, they invent a whole new hygiene conspiracy. She only stinks because she's with a black guy? Bro, she already had the reputation long before she ever looked at a black man. But now that she's smiling next to one, suddenly it's our fault. This is not about smell. This is about ego. This is about insecurity. This is about watching the women they feel entitled to walk away, and needing someone to blame. And of course, who do they pick? Us. Always us. Today we're going to break this nonsense all the way down. We're going to show you how fast this claim backfired, and we're going to talk about what this really reveals. This video is for educational and commentary purposes only. Views expressed are opinions based on public content. We don't do hate. We do truth with extra seasoning. Let's get into it.
Guys sometimes get these white girls, and I always watch it. You know, I pay attention to this stuff because, you know, I work in public. I see a lot of people all the time. So one thing about the white girls when they're with the black guy, they smell really bad, but they can't smell it. They can't tell. It's because their skin meshes with the black guys in a bad.
Hold on there, Grandpa. Talking about the only reason white women smell, they stink, is because they're dating black guys? So you mean to tell me that when I'm out and about, minding my business, and then a white girl, some random white girl, just passes me by, and the scent of wet dog, the stench of hot dog water goes right into my nose, making me a little dizzy every single time that a white girl passes by, no matter what she looked like. She could be skinny, she could be not skinny, she could be tall, she could be short, she could be blonde, she could be brunette, but nonetheless, every single time that a white girl passes by, it's inevitable that the scent, or rather the stench of wet dog and hot dog water combined comes off of them. You mean to tell me that that is due to white girls dating black guys? Because I don't know if you know this, but white women have the reputation of smelling like wet dog, like hot dog water, just by default. And you trying to tell me that that stench, that inevitable, unpleasant stench that they carry 24/7, 365, is there because they're dating black guys? I call cap on that shit.
There was this big fat guy that I used to have that I rented to, and he was very unhealthy, and he had this fungus that grew in his skin, and it's similar to that, and he could not smell it. You're like, when he came around, you were like, quickly, say your stuff, I gotta go. You know, it was really bad. And what happens with the black guys, it's really sad because they have these babies with these white girls. This chainsaw's out to get me today. Why? But the black guy, he has positive. He thinks he's going to have this white kid and they're going to have a good life now and things are going to go well because he's with the whites and he's been brainwashed to think there's this white, what do you call that? That whites just automatically get this money and stuff. White privilege. They think that exists.
Wait a minute. They think they're gonna get this white privilege? They think that exists? So white privilege doesn't exist? Why do white people think that white privilege is getting a check in the mail? I've seen a lot of people make videos to describe white privilege, what it is, what it looks like, what it sounds like. But let me be the first person to make it real clear. Real simple. Easy to understand for everybody, no matter what age. White privilege is the fact that white people are not demonized as a collective. Meanwhile, black people are. For example, if and when white people go into any store, any building, any establishment, they are not by default identified, assumed to be a criminal, a thief. Meanwhile, black people go into the same building, the same store, etc., and they are followed around to make sure that they're not going to steal because black people have been demonized, depicted by the macro media as thieves, criminals. One demographic of people are not demonized this way, and then another are. You mean to tell me that's not a privilege? It is a privilege to be white because you are not a people that have been demonized by the macro media, a macro media controlled by wealthy white people. White privilege is simply the fact that as white people, as a white person, you are obviously treated differently than black people or non-white people are. This is a matter of conditioning, generation after generation of program in society. That is why the standard of beauty is white. Is it because white women or white people are better looking than non-white people? Because how was it decided that whites are the standard of beauty? It's not that white people are better looking, are the standard of beauty, are better than anybody else. It's just a matter of programming, conditioning. But anyway.
But the white liberal, what she does, she's an activist. That's why she got with the black guy. The white liberal got with him because she wanted to show it as like, look at me. I care for this guy. I understand his struggle and all this. But instead, liberals are bad. They're masculine. They test the black guy, and he doesn't have inside of him the fortitude to make it through the emotional testing. He hasn't been taught by a father who teaches you to be silent, to just take it when the woman is in her emotion. You have to just take it. And they're like, hell no. And they're smacking the girl. They're doing all kinds of abusive to her. You know, that's why it's like a common picture. There's a white girl with a black kid. She's single and she has a black eye. And it's just true. You see that all over the place when they're with them.
And you are doing exactly what I described before I even watched the rest of this bullshit. You literally walked into what I previously described. The white privilege. One people being demonized and another not. You're literally doing it right now. That's why there's a picture out there of a white woman holding a black kid with a black eye. What do you think you're doing there? You are contributing to the demonization of black people, specifically of black men in this case. So you start off the video claiming that white women stink because they date black men. And as the video's progressing, you start expressing certain views regarding white women dating black men, your personal opinions. You start adding stereotypes, making it obvious that all this, what you're doing, is due to your jealousy. You are pissed off seeing how many white women are dating black men. It bothers you to the core. And at the end of the day, This is what it's all about. All these white guys making videos calling white women mud sharks for dating black men is very telling. And now here we are, you claiming that the reason white women stink like wet dog, like hot dog water, like turtle tank water, is because they date black men. How convenient. How convenient, how absurd, how ludicrous, how silly to claim that the reason white women stink is because black men. I am willing to grab dice and bet that your white ex-wife left your goofy ass for a black guy. She had a taste of that BBC, and after that, she packed up and bounced. Hasta la vista. And in return, you grab your little phone, press record, and do this stupid shit.
When they're with them. And it's nothing really, I know that you want to blame the black guy, but it's not his fault. He's being tricked by liberalism. Nothing against the liberals. I get you guys have true liberalism has positive causes. But what we have as liberals now is something else. Something morphed into a monster. So the black guy doesn't have a chance, and he loses his family, and he blames himself, and it's just terrible. And we blame the black man, and it's just a mess. It's the liberals. It's those people.
A woman's body count is no longer the most important number to look at when it comes to deciding who your wife is going to be.
It's have they dated a black person in the past? And if so, how many black people did they date and the shade of blackness they have dated? If we're talking about like a half skin 6 years ago, 2 dates, we can kind of brush that under the rug. But if we're talking 3 or more, burnt crispy, to the streets.
I am learning through social media that there are a non-small percentage of white guys who spend a lot of time just solely thinking about black men. There's been multiple videos from women that have went viral saying that they went on a date with men who are white, and many of those men have asked them, oh, have you ever dated a black guy? What kind of question is that? You are not hiding your racism in the slightest if someone being viewed as marriage material or girlfriend material is contingent on whether they haven't dated somebody of a different race. It is actually insane, and I get more disappointed in people as the days go on. So
The reason that COVID killed many people in the US is because white people are colonizers. It's literally like the colonizer gene coming through, and as a white person I can say this pretty confidently. It's the don't tread on me, let me do what I want mindset. And even when that Meemaw and Peepaw and killed thousands of grandparents across the country, white people were literally bringing the virus home and killing their relatives. A lot of the time they still didn't care, and to this day they will say, oh yeah, like it was a government hoax, you know, it was just their time to pass, and still in denial of science. And it's literally the exact same thing that happened, you know, 200, 300, 400 years ago when white people were plundering different countries and bringing diseases, or specifically when white people were, you know, bringing smallpox blankets essentially and handing them out and being a vast portion of the native population in America. Not wearing a mask and not wanting to protect your community is a very white behavior, and not being sanitary is a very white behavior. Look at Europe. I mean, these motherfuckers have plumbing for a really long time. They would just dump their buckets from the bathroom into the street. Wear a mask, bye. A lot of white men, everything is a motivation, and this video proves it.
BC lover. This person right here would die for BC. Would die for.
Number one, whoever you are, you're extremely hard to look at and very irrelevant in my day-to-day life. Please find someone else to harass. But number two, the fact that you can't imagine that somebody would create anti-racist content because it's genuinely the right thing to do. And by the way, I deserve zero praise for this. This is bare minimum. Shows a lot about the way that you view the world. And of course, you are thinking about the genitalia of black men. You were the only person who was thinking about that, because when I'm making my videos, I guarantee you I'm not sitting there thinking, oh my god, will black men like this? I'm thinking it's stuff that all my friends are being treated like shit, that they're being racially profiled every time we're out in the street. Or I'm thinking about how my college boyfriend was racially profiled and almost shot by cops when he was on a run. I'm thinking about how all of my girls can't go out without being harassed and propositioned by white men and women alike. So yeah, surprise, surprise, I have zero motivation in creating this content. But of course for you guys, everything is about including politics. But for me, it's about advancing human rights around the fucking globe. Go away. The most ironic part about conservative white men caring about my sex life is that they are pushing white women away from them. White men are so preoccupied with, oh my god, there's gonna be a race war and white women are gonna have kids with brown and black people, aka the great replacement theory. But genuinely the most hilarious part about all of this is that through this behavior, through controlling white women, through literally commenting on every single post and calling me a bunch of different slurs like this, and then asking, why don't you date white men? Mother, that's why. How do you think I don't date white men? Because a lot of you, especially conservative white men, treat me like fiend garbage. And this is a known thing. White women, we always talk about the fact that when we're on dates with white men, we pretty regularly get asked if we slept with a black man. Like, what the f does that have to do with this date that we're currently on? It's pure jealousy and rage. Or the fact that white conservative men make fun of leftist and liberal women for being conscientious and aren't good partners. Why would anyone want to marry you when you act like that? And that's the funniest part, is through their actions, they are making this a reality where white men are losing white women. And it's entirely their fault because you treat white women like...
All right, so this man gets on camera and says with a straight face, when white girls are with black guys, they smell really bad, but they can't smell it. Their skin meshes with the black guy in a bad way. Hold on, Grandpa. You mean to tell me that every time a white woman walks past and that wet dog and hot dog water combination hits my nose, that's because somewhere, somehow, she's dating a black man? Even the ones I've never seen with a black man? Even the ones who look like they've never spoken to a black man? The reputation was already there. It was already a running joke. It was already noted in the streets, in the comments, in the group chats. But now that some of them are choosing black men, suddenly we are the cause? That's not observation. That's jealousy wearing a lab coat. Let's be real. A lot of these men are frustrated. They see white women leaving, choosing melanated men, and it bothers them deep. So, instead of looking in the mirror, instead of asking, why are they choosing him over me, they create a story. She's only with him because she's an activist. She's only with him to prove a point. And by the way, now she stinks because of him. Then they pivot into the usual stereotypes. Black men are abusive. Black men are chasing white privilege. Black men don't have the fortitude. It's the same tired script. Demonize the black man. Make the white woman the victim. And never ever examine why the white woman left in the first place. This is classic deflection. When the problem is in your own community, blame the black people. When the attraction is shifting, blame the black people. When the hygiene conversation gets uncomfortable, blame the black people. And the funny part, it backfired immediately. Because people are not stupid. They saw right through it. They saw the bitterness. They saw the obsession. They saw a man who spends way too much time thinking about black men's relationships. Some of these men are more focused on black men than the women they claim to want. That's not concern. That's fixation. And let's talk about the white privilege part real quick, because he tried it. He said black men think they're going to get white privilege by being with white women, and that it doesn't even exist. Meanwhile, the same man is out here freely stereotyping an entire race of men on camera without fear of the same collective demonization black people face every day. That difference right there, that's the privilege. One group gets to make wild claims about another group's body, smell, and relationships, and still walk around untreated as a collective threat. That's the point. So, no, black men are not making white women smell. Black women are not responsible for anyone else's hygiene. And the old trick of blaming us for everything that makes you uncomfortable is getting weaker by the day. The claim didn't just fail, it exposed the person who made it. So, here's the bottom line. Family. When a man has to invent a scientific theory about skin meshing just to explain why the women he wants are choosing someone else, the problem was never the smell. The problem is the ego that can't handle being passed over. They can keep blaming black men. They can keep blaming black women. They can keep creating new excuses. But the truth stays the same. White women already had the reputation. Black people are not the cause. And jealousy will always find a target. We see it, we clock it, and we keep it moving. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what y'all really think about this one. If this video spoke to you, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss the next one. We out here telling it like it is. Nothing more, nothing less. Stay sharp, stay clean, stay unbothered. We gone.